The Valentine Scene. A story of first love and loss. Part 1. The quiet girl with big questions. It was the year 2000. People still made mixtapes. Mobile phones had antennas. And the idea of love still carried an air of mystery, less swiped, more stumbled upon. In a quiet corner of a university in Central Asia, nestled between endless corridors and echoing lecture halls, was a girl named Aizen. She was 20 years old. Her books were her closest companions. Her heart had never skipped a beat for a boy, and her lips had never been kissed. In a world rushing headfirst into the future, Aizen felt like she was stuck in the past. Her family was traditional, conservative. Virginity, for her, wasn't a word, it was a rule. A badge she was expected to carry, invisible but weighty. It wasn't that she didn't want love. She just didn't know what kind of love she could choose. At night, under the dim desk lamp of her dorm room, she often whispered her fears to the pages of her diary. What if I wait, and the right one never comes? What if I choose wrong, and I can never go back? Part 2. The Valentine's Day that changed everything. Valentine's Day arrived like it always did, pink flyers, red balloons, and cheap chocolate lining every corridor. The student community center had planned a small event, and as a member, Aizen was expected to help. She showed up in her simple cream sweater, jeans, and nervous energy. She wasn't here to fall in love. She was here because she had to be. The leader of the event gathered everyone backstage. Okay, we're doing a little performance. Love at first sight. 6 couples. Just pick someone, walk on stage, pretend you're crazy in love. Do a dance or two. The audience will vote. Prize is 2 tickets to that new Lord of the Rings movie and dinner at Mirabelle's. Everyone already seemed to have paired off, laughing, hugging, rehearsing. Then he leaned toward Aizen and whispered, "We're short one guy. One of the footballers got sick. If you don't want to end up alone on stage, find someone. Fast." Panic swept through her. She darted out from behind the curtain, her eyes scanning the auditorium. In the far left row, a group of IT students sat, half bored, half curious. She spotted a boy at the end, tall, calm, eyes following the stage with quiet interest. She ran up to him, heart thumping. "Hi, sorry to bother, but can you help me? We're doing a silly performance, and I need a partner to pretend we're in love for like 10 minutes. Nothing real. Just a play, please." He blinked, then smiled. "Why not? Let's try." Part 3. The magic on stage. The moment they stepped onto the stage, something shifted. The music played, the spotlight shone, and their bodies moved as if the rhythm had always been part of them. The rules said they had to act in love, but neither of them expected how real it might feel. She whispered during the waltz, "Can you pretend to be more in love? Just look deep into my eyes like you're frozen." He nodded. What she didn't know was that something inside him was already melting. His name was Timur. And from the moment she grabbed his hand, something stirred he hadn't felt in a long time. Their eyes locked. He forgot the stage, forgot the crowd, forgot even the fact that this was all a game. His friends in the audience waved and shouted, trying to distract him. But he was already somewhere else with her. She was golden-haired, graceful, full of contradictions, a shy smile with the energy of a storm behind her eyes. And when they danced, the crowd stared. She sparkled. He followed. By the end, the applause was thunderous. They won dinner, movie, and a title that made them both blush. Best couple of Valentine's Day. Part 4. The night they didn't want to end. Backstage, she laughed as she changed out of her costume. He waited, leaning on the wall. "Do you want to do the prize today?" he asked, not sure if she'd vanished like a dream. She hesitated, then nodded. Today. They didn't want the magic to wear off. They went to the theatre first. Sat in the dark, side by side, the silence thick with questions neither could ask. She could feel his breath when he leaned close. Their hands touched once accidentally and stayed together. Fingers unsure but warm. Afterward, they walked into the city lights. Mirabelle's was glowing gold, waiting for them. The waiter smiled as he seated them. Our beautiful couple. This one's on the house. She laughed. He couldn't take his eyes off her. It didn't feel like pretend anymore. Part 5, The Confession. The next morning, Aizen walked down the old spiral staircase between classes. Timur was waiting. He took her aside. Down the long, empty corridor lined with lockers and faded posters. I wanted to talk, he said. They sat on a worn-out sofa at the end. He looked nervous. I'm glad I met you yesterday, he said. I wasn't expecting anything. But when we danced, something felt real. I've had flings before. I've gone out. But with you, it's not fun I want. It's friendship. It's connection. Will you be my girlfriend? She froze. The shy, unsure girl inside her wanted to run. But the one who looked into his eyes on stage wanted to stay. Yes, she whispered. Why not? Part 6, Days of Blossoming. From that day on, Aizen and Timur became inseparable. They sat together at lunch, whispering and laughing about everything and nothing. He waited for her after every class, walking her home with his bike trailing beside him. She never told him how her friends started watching, whispering, wondering. And he never told her how he kept skipping soccer practice, just to sit on the steps of her department building. Timur came from a wealthy family, but he never acted like it. He wore simple clothes, spent hours in the university library, and spoke with a depth that captivated her. He was thoughtful, gentle, curious about her culture, her thoughts, her childhood dreams. He never mocked the way she hesitated when he touched her hand for too long. He never pushed. One afternoon, they sat on a grassy hill behind the campus, under a tree bursting with white spring blossoms. I don't know how to be a girlfriend, she said quietly. He leaned closer. I don't know how to be a boyfriend either. Let's learn together. Part 7, The First Kiss. It happened unexpectedly. After a small party for a friend's birthday, they wandered outside. The music still played from the dorm, echoing faintly into the night. She was glowing, cheeks pink from laughter, curls tumbling across her face. He watched her as she pulled her coat tighter, her breath fogging in the cool air. And then, suddenly, his hands were on her waist. She didn't step back. He kissed her, gently, nervously. Then again, and again. Her whole world tilted. Time blurred. The kiss unlocked something inside her that had been waiting for years in silence. Part 8, The Summer of Desire. They began to explore each other. Slowly. He never rushed. She never forced herself. They kissed in empty hallways, on shadowed stairs, in quiet corners of the library behind forgotten shelves. Once, she laughed that they were becoming characters in some forbidden novel. He just smiled and whispered, "Then let's make it a beautiful one." One weekend, after a student party, they decided not to go home. They found a small hotel tucked behind a boulevard. The room was simple. White sheets, wooden floor, a single lamp casting golden light. He kissed her hands first, then her neck, then lower. She told him she wasn't ready, not yet. He nodded, no pressure. We'll stop whenever you say. And so they stopped, but not before discovering new ways to make each other tremble. Part 9. A universe between her legs. Weeks passed. They kept learning through touches, sighs, and gentle experiments. One night, as the wind howled outside and rain tapped the windows, he kissed her thighs, then lower. His mouth was slow, patient, worshipping. She gasped, curled her fingers in his hair, unsure if she should stop or surrender. Her body rose and fell like waves. She had never known such pleasure could exist. "I feel like I'm not even in this world," she whispered, breathless afterward. "You're in the stars," he said, holding her tightly. That night changed her forever. She realized her body was hers. Her choices were hers. Her pleasure mattered. Part 10. Breaking the barrier. Months passed. One evening, she said, "I think I'm ready." They rented the same hotel room. He prepared her carefully, as he always had, kissing, touching, waiting. When he entered her, she cried. Not from pain, but from everything. The burden of expectations, the fear of judgment, the quiet guilt passed down from generations. He stopped. "Are you okay?" She nodded. "Keep going." He moved gently, whispering her name like a prayer. Afterward, they lay together, her head on his chest. He kissed her forehead and said, "You're still everything you were. Nothing's broken, only opened." She didn't bleed that night. He said maybe it hadn't happened fully. But the next morning, when she climbed onto him in the soft light, the blood came. He laughed softly and whispered, "Congratulations. You're not a virgin anymore." And then he kissed her again. Part 11. The unforgettable 2.5 years. Their love became legend. They kissed behind lecture halls, made love under city bridges, whispered poetry on benches. They explored each other with wild hunger and delicate reverence. Every inch of skin, every fantasy, every ridiculous place once, even behind a theater curtain. They were lovers and best friends. She taught him to love tea with milk. He taught her how to play guitar. They danced in the rain, got sick together, skipped exams to lie in bed all day whispering secrets. For 2.5 years, it was heaven. Part 12. The end that broke her. Then it came. He was accepted to a graduate program in Shanghai. His parents insisted he go. They booked the tickets before he could argue. He asked her to come. "Run away with me," he said, eyes desperate. She asked her parents. They refused. "You will ruin your life," they said. "You are not married. You will not follow a man like that." She couldn't disobey. The day he left, she wrote him letters she never sent. She stayed in bed for days. The pain was not just heartbreak, it was identity loss. It was shame. It was fear. She cried every night. Not because he left, but because she believed. She had given away something that could never be returned. "Now I'm not a virgin anymore," she wrote in her diary. "No one will want me." Part 13. The light after the fall. Depression hit her like a silent storm. She stopped eating, lost her glow. Her roommates worried. Professors called her in. She watched Sex and the City episodes on loop, clinging to Carrie Bradshaw like a lifeline. "You can still have a beautiful life." The voice inside her whispered, "You are more than your past, more than your body, more than their rules." She began to dream again. Not of Timor, but of freedom. Of New York. Of Milan. Of somewhere new where no one would ask if she was pure. She applied for international internships. Started writing again. Her voice was stronger. More honest. Part 14. What remains? Years later, in a cafe in Amsterdam, a man leaned over and said, "You have a beautiful energy." She smiled. The ache of Timur still lived somewhere deep inside her. But it didn't define her anymore. Love, she realized, was not one man, one body, one chapter. Love was how she survived it, how she grew through it, How she still looked at the world with soft eyes even after everything. In the year 2000, a quiet girl from a conservative family kissed her first love under a Valentine's spotlight. She lost her virginity but gained her voice. And though they never met again, that one night, that one dance, still echoes through every choice she makes. This was not just a love story. This was her becoming.